Rock-Ed, galing sa Rock Education. Isang organisasyong binubuo ng mga volunteers mula sa iba't ibang larangan. Mga artista, pintor, abogado at negosyante, lahat sila ay nagkaisa upang baguhin ang lipunan sa pamamagitan ng paghalo ng edukasyon at musikang tinatawag na rock. Dahil alam nila na ang kabataan ay mahilig makinig sa rock music, ginagamit ito ng Rock-Ed upang palalimin ang kaalaman ng mga kabataan tungkol sa mga iba't ibang isyung kasalukuyang hinaharap ng Pilipinas, mga isyu tulad ng kahirapan at edukasyon. Sa tulong ng mga prinsipal at guro, bumibisita ang mga Rock-Ed volunteers sa mga paaralan upang mapag-usapan ang mga iba't ibang isyu na ito. Ngunit hindi lang sa mga paaralan matatagpuan ang Rock-Ed. Gumagamit sila ng mga alternatibong lugar kung saan malamang matatagpuan ang kabataan upang magturo. Ang mga kainan at bars ay pansamantalang nagiging mga paaralan. Noong nakaraang Disyembre, muling itinaguyod ng Rock-Ed ang Rock the Riles para ipaalam sa madla ang mga karapatang pantao sa 8 istasyon ng MRT. Iba't ibang sikat na banda ang nakisali sa proyektong ito. Ang isa pa nilang proyekto ay ang Rocker Park, kung saan naglalaro ng street ball ang mga musikero upang mangolekta ng sari-saring kagamitang pang sports. Ang mga ito ay pamimigay sa mga paaralan sa probinsya. Ang banner na No More Excuses Philippines ay ang sarili nilang tawag para sa kamulatan, kaalaman at kawanggawa.
Oh, okay. That was a short, 2-minute video clip on what Rock-Ed's about. One interesting element is the voice behind that documentary or that video clip. The narrator happens to be someone who almost became
Pope.
Pope. Si Cardinal Tagle
He
daw.
wasn't a cardinal yet. He was just kind enough to do
talaga,
that voice
bishop
for
pa
us.
siya
Isn't
noon,
that, hindi pa nga siya bishop noon.
But how did you get her? How
Father
did you get
Tagle.
him? How did you
Tita
get him?
Tagle is a friend because of Ateneo. We taught there at the same time.
see.
Sa Jescom.
I noticed nga, yeah, you were with Jescom also, no? And before that, when you were in the States, you were also serving as an assistant to a certain mission. San Diego ba
The
yan?
Bishop of San Jose, California.
San Jose, California. You weren't waiting for the swallows to come back to Capistrano, no? But you're always with yun nga. Why this affinity to work with men of the cloth?
Well, one of my best friends for a long time became a Jesuit. He actually passed away in 2009. It's one of my biggest heartbreaks, Father Joey Fermin. But we were best friends from college until he passed away. He's a Jesuit. He's one of the few priests kasi who I imagine, because I saw him from prior to being a priest until he was a priest. Because pag nakakita ka ng sincere vocation, you stay. Are there awful priests? Yes. Are there horrible priests? Absolutely. But I think I've seen a few who have real call, real vocation.
Mostly Jesuits.
I was
and Benedictines.
I was lucky enough to witness up close gentlemen who have real vocations, who became real priests. And I think that's why it's easier for me to work with them. And ako rin, di ba, may journey ka na pinalaki kang Katoliko, etc. Hindi ako religious at all, but I was curious. I wanted to know what it is I feel like hating or loving,
Actually, your work right now, it's not far removed from what is usually known to be the Jesuitic mission vision.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, not Jesuitic, because that has a
Sweetic.
sometimes different connotation. Sweetic daw or sweet talk.
Sweetie.
Yung sweetic daw actually also came from sweet talk. To sweet talk someone to give up something, ganon.
Na-sweetik, ang ganda
50s
nun.
pa yan yung sweet talk naging sweetik. But then it's also parang describes yung parang nitpicking, di ba? Yung being just sweetic about something, ganon.
You pick on something unnecessarily. A lot of people always assume that I'm religious, but I'm not.
No.
Maybe because the work I do is usually associated with people who are very religious. Kasi civic work dati, Crip, yung nagsi-civic work nung 80s or 90s, nung college ako, either anak ka ng aktivista,
Kala ko sabi mo, anak ka ng pare.
I'm sure may mga ganun. Either anak ka ng aktivista or anti-Marcos, or religious ka, so sa parokya mo may civic work. Bihirang-bihira yung may civic space.
Or may boyfriend kang tibak.
Bihirang-bihira yung civic space na hindi religious or hindi politiko.
Yeah.
But that's why people always assume I'm one or the other. But actually, yung Rock Ed sana, I imagine, is a venue for people who are neither. But would still like to be involved in civic work.
Okay, getting back to Rock Ed. How did you found it and when?
Oh, wow. I told you I started with that MTV MTV lecture for musicians with Professor Randy David.
This was what year?
2005.
2005.
Early
Okay,
2005.
so almost a decade na kayo.
We're closing in. Oh, anyway, yes, almost. We're on the 8th year, and then after that, I realized we were constantly invited to schools. And I was also constantly invited to schools because of the Jesuit communication job I had.
Yes.
But every time I would go and lecture on human rights or the primer to human rights, I would cheat and I'd bring a musician para sa gitna ng lecture ko, kahit bored sila, maalala nila na si Noel Cabangon was there. And I would always say, okay, this afternoon we will be rocking while educating or educating while rocking.
Very good.
And that's the birth of Rock Ed, actually, the term.
But it couldn't have been, and up to now, it can't be just you handling it. Now, you're a founding director. Who else are the directors?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Professor C.P. David of Project NOAA, he's a geologist, science. People who started it with me are Professor Fidel Nemenso of Math, Annie Almario, the daughter of Rio, who runs Adarna Books, and etc. We happen to be good friends from school. Tessie Angsi's daughter, Maya, is an elementary education expert. We also have businessmen like Jaime Gerchitorena, anak ni Vicky. He's also was part of it at the start, and etc. Lourdes, of course, from minute one, very supportive. He was the first band, actually. Noel Cabangon, obviously, and lahat of friends eh. And then, dahil...
It's not a foundation, is it?
No, it's a non-profit.
NGO.
It's an NGO.
It's an NGO.
It's a non-profit.
Okay.
A foundation needs money.
Yeah,
we
but
don't have money.
So do you. I mean, how do you get all these books? How do you transport the books to Lagawe,
Do you want to know how we're funded? Seriously?
I was
good,
going to
I'm
ask.
glad.
I was going to ask. Because if you have certain particularly notable sponsors, you might as well credit them
No,
now.
I'll tell you how we're funded. I'm so glad you asked. So that I don't beg for overhead, meaning our rent, our etc., I formed an ad agency, an ad agency called Samarami Asia. We handle campaigns of Colgate, and I help out other products. And our artists, meaning our artists and art directors, they're only paid half of their corporate salaries, and then the rest fund Rock Ed. So technically, nauna lang yung CSR, and then from the expertise we gathered with Rock Ed, a year and a half later, I formed an ad agency, and this ad agency funds Rock Ed.
All right. But what's wrong with asking outright?
There's nothing wrong.
I mean, like me, I'm swimming in money. If you ask me tonight,
Of course, I mean, I wish.
I can consider.
There's nothing wrong. I need the camera here. I have to say this properly. Come on. There is nothing wrong with asking for money. Here. There's nothing wrong with asking for money. But there is something wrong when the person you ask from or the donor demands from you favors or dictates on where you can go or where
Some
the money
do,
goes.
some
Of course,
don't.
of course. But in Rock Ed, because we're so free and easy and we're dealing with teenagers, I cannot have a donor that tells me, don't talk about this topic, don't touch about these and etc.
Those are the asshole donors, the tight asses. Besides, the donors don't have to be just individuals. More likely than not, di ba? It's corporations.
That's right.
The usual top
There's nothing wrong with it.
400, ganyan.
In fact, I think one of the big, if there is nothing I will accomplish with the 10 years of Rock Ed, kung wala siyang magawa at all, ang meron lang akong may iwan ay, kahit walang pera, meron kang pwedeng ibuo, meron kang pwedeng...
Kung sa bagay, ang parang mas madaling ang tawagan ng sarili na lahat yan is voluntarism. Which, by the way, dati ang pagkaalam ko dyan, voluntarism. Pero tinignan ko sa dictionary, pwede rin yung volunteerism.
Volunteerism.
Nagiging voluntarism yun dapat. Anyway.
Parang advocacy, tsaka advocacy.
Ibig sabihin, yung mga musicians mo na hinihinga mo ng tulong.
To perform,
to perform.
for book drives.
Yun nga, wala silang bayad. They give of their time. They give of their gas money. Ganyan. Si Lord de Vera, hindi mo bibigyan ng isang kahang sigarilyo. Ganon. Siya pang bahala.
Hindi sigarilyo.
Wag na yun.
Beer.
Yun nga, whereas if you have a corporate donor or
Yeah,
set of
that's true.
corporate donors.
Well,
di ba?
many corporations have supported us, you know, Colgate, Oishi,
Ah,
Dove,
pala,
they've all, ano.
Another question I have, no? Okay, how do you proceed, no? Siyempre, okay, meron kayong board, siyempre, meeting,
Yung meeting namin, tawagan lang or kape or...
pag merong may idea.
Oo.
Like, who eventually chooses? Like, you've been involved in a lot of places. And we might as well say this, I don't think we've mentioned it. It's not just been Luzon. I know for a fact that recently you've been to Cebu, you've been to Dumaguete.
There are groups now, Rocket Cebu, Rocket Iloilo, Rocket Dumaguete, CDO, Butuan, Iligan,
So,
Baguio.
parang nagpa-franchise na kayo.
Nagpa-franchise.
Okay,
In fact, that's where I'm focused now. Because the one who runs Rocket now is Laia Jokno, very young girl, anak ni Chel Jokno, ni Attorney Jose Manuel Jokno. Kapatid ni Pepe Jokno.
Pamangkin ni Popoy.
Maris. Pamangkin ni Popoy. She's very young. She runs the Rocket in NCR.
Hindi anak ni Maris, pamangkin ni Maris.
Pamangkin ni Maris.
Pamangkin ni
anak
Maris
ni Chel.
at saka,
Anak ni Chel.
Chel, I don't know too well.
Ang nakafocus ako sa starting it in provinces. Yun yung aking toka ngayon.
Very good genes. I mean, her lolo is still remains as one of my 2 or 3 Filipino idols.
Absolutely.
Mr.
So she
Jose
runs
Wright.
it. She runs it now. Laia Jokno, very young girl.
She
But
runs Rock Ed, the national.
the existing projects.
Okay.
Si Laia yon. Anything outside NCR and startup Rock Ed is me. So I focus on
outreach
provinces
ka,
now.
outreach
This is
program.
why I'm always in provinces. Because we
Akala ko
start
you just
Rock
like
Eds
to
there.
go to spas and
Sana may...
or try the Thai massage in
Sana
Dumaguete.
may ganun.
Kasi tinatanong mo ako noon saan ang mga massage parlors, di ba?
Paano kasi ang stressful nung naghahatid kami ng Lumindol. Nung Lumindol, naghahatid kami ng relief
No, but
zone.
these sprouts, no, in the provinces or outside Manila, was it because they heard of you or there was some affiliation or some project and then they said, why don't we come up with our own group here and then we'll just coordinate? Yeah.
Like many things in the Philippines, it really starts with friends. Because I know Ian Kaso of Dumaguete because she's the cousin of, the Philippines ganyan eh. So
1.5 degrees of separation.
I agree. In fact, you're loved or
Yung
hated.
pinsan nung kapitid nung driver niya,
Ng kapitbahay, ng dating labandera.
Saan pa kayo nakapunta? Okay, Negro, Bacolod, you've done
May
na.
grupo talaga doon. May grupo talaga
Iloilo.
doon. Iloilo, Dumaguete, CDO,
Tagbilaran.
Iligan. Alam mo, unfortunately, Jesuit na naman to eh. Kung saan may Ateneo, may Rock Ed.
Ateneo de Zamboanga, Ateneo
Naga.
de Xavier in Cagayan de Oro.
Naga.
Sa Mindanao, ilan na napunta?
Zamboanga, merong Rock Ed.
What have you not reached that you would want to reach?
Batanes, dalawa lang. Only because I want to go to Batanes. We want a Rock Ed in Batanes.
Much about there's a budget?
We really want, if any Abad is watching right now, will you please help us get to Batanes?
Si Mercy Abad. Saka si Jimmy Abad.
Is there any area? Yung Maguindanao, sa Sharif Agwak, tsaka sa Cotabato, may Rock Ed doon. But they're so limited, of course.
Seriously, sa Batanes, get in touch with our DBM secretary.
I know, I should.
Secretary Abad.
I shouldn't bother him, but yeah, absolutely.
Whose progeny all went through the Ateneo. Anyway.
I dream to have a really good library in Batanes eh.
Yeah. There's a good art center actually that he founded.
Fundasyon? Yun ba yun?
Part 5. Fundasyon has become parang semi-commercial na in the sense that it offers lodging. Now, in town, in Basco, there is a art center for...
Aurora,
and
recently...
The results have been very good because of the painters that they have spawned. Aurora, Baler.
Recently, kaka-open lang namin sa Aurora. May isang grupo doon.
Through the Angaras.
May isang grupo ng taga-UP Diliman, ng surfers, na nanirahan na sa Baler. Sila yung Rock Ed Baler.
Albay, Bicol.
Wala. Bicol, meron lang kami sa Naga.
Oy, go further.
Albay. Dapat nga.
Network with Balde, June Balde, the poet.
Hanapin ko yung... Alam mo, Crip, ang hirap kasi mag-presenta eh. Ang hirap mag-cold call in this day and age. Yung, hello, you don't know me, but ganyan. So usually, naghihintay ako na they've heard of us. And they call and say, interesado ba kayo? Kasi that way,
Sige. We'll tell June Balde is very, very active in and madami yan eh. 4 yan eh. Abot ka hanggang Sursugon. Saman, wala pa kayo.
Since we're here and we might be running out of time, I really want to share this.
Bantayan, sama ko.
Mall-wall ba? Parang gusto ko mag-Rock Ed Boracay mo, diba? One thing I would really like to share if you're watching this and you're here still with us till now, and you're listening about Rock Ed, I have no harvest other than hopefully mindsets that are changed. Meaning, at the end of at the end of whatever.
Malayo yata yun sa mais.
Wala
o
akong
coconut or...
PowerPoint na mape-present sa iyo clip na 60,000 kids are more patriotic, 18,000 participating. Wala akong numbers na ganun.
May pictures naman kayo, may album kayo.
However,
tsaka word of mouth.
mararamdaman mo sa direction at taste ng bata, normal na sa kanila ngayon na mag-volunteer. Dati parang extra siya eh. Ngayon halos normal motion nila. Sana maramdaman sa pag-iba. Dati 25 years ago, hindi ako bibili ng t-shirt na nakalagay Cubao. Ngayon, medyo, ang glad na uso siya ngayon. People always, there's been a few criticism na it's just a fad and uso lang yan ngayon. I'll take it, it's true. A fad looks a lot like commitment, you know?
Nasa likod, Tony Perez.
Hindi. A fad looks a lot like
gusto
commitment.
kuli-kuli.
Kung ano yung uso, kamukha rin niya yung
No,
commitment.
there is a very refreshing flavor or note of nationalism
I
that I have
agree.
noted in the last decade. And this has nothing to do with the darned kind of nationalism practiced by the so-called leftists. Yung parang sila lang ang marunong magmahal ng bayan.
Hindi, okay rin naman yun. I mean, you know.
What I don't like about the deep leftists is because, pag indiscriminate ka sa kosa mo, nawawala ng value yung the real ones that you can really stand up for. If everything na lang na ginawa, magbababato kayo ng silya, susunugin nyo sa courtyard ng eskwela nyo, you know who I'm talking about, PUP, okay? UP. I mean, masyado kayo eh. Sobra kayo.
All opinions expressed by the host is not shared by the guest.
Even Jim Libiran of Tondo is with me on this. Teka.
No.
There is responsible, cause-orientalism.
I think responsible din naman sila. Pero ang dream ko ay pagkagalit at may cause, sana mas asintado. Yun lang.
Yun
sana
nga, yun. Mamili ng fight the right battles. Hindi na lang, minsan personal na eh. Basta, otoridad, tao, gano'n, nasa pwesto, kahit na layo-layo ng kosa. Anyway,
pero
never
you're
mind.
right, refreshing ngayon yung
meron
hindi mo
talagang
siya pwede
nationalism.
i-shoot down na
Meron.
uso lang siya.
And this nationalism is not only here, it's parallel with that of the Phil-Americans, the Phil-Foreigners, We all know, we're quite aware na meron eh. And I think it comes with the cognizance. In my own view, gang, I've always said, ayaw nyo kasing tanggapin, bata pa tayo eh. That's a simple fact. We're a toddler in the world stage. We were the last to be, yung from the mainland China. Kaya nga hindi tayo naging Muslim.
Alam mo kung gaano tayo kabata? Yung Constitution ng Amerika, 1776. Tayo.
And the rest, the Federation of Malaysia, kahit na mas later government sila, mas matagal na silang nandyan. May maturity yan. The Thais, from the Cynic culture to the Indo, Sanskrit.
Okay lang ako.
Bata tayo eh.
I think okay na okay.
Kaya nga, manggaling natin eh. Kasi yung bata eh. The creativity is there.
At ang pliant
the
natin.
Arts, ganyan. Tapos yung we're Eastern, Western, Back to Rocket. Palawan. Have you been to Palawan?
Only once.
Puerto? Coron, wala pa.
Wala pa.
Sarangani, Jensan.
Usually kasi, parang ano yun eh, parang, magkukuta ko ng Art of War kadire. Parang sige, kailangan mo mag-conquer ng fort na ma-maintain mo eh. Don't conquer a fort you can't maintain.
Yung madami.
When we do get into a province, kailangan may naka-base doon na interesado.
How
Para
far
itutuloy
south have
nila.
you gone?
Zamboanga and Sharif Agwak.
Muslim area.
Oo, Maguindanao, Cotabato
Tawi-Tawi.
City. Tawi-Tawi hindi pa. However, I'm working out something with one of the princesses.
Tapos Sabaan.
Tawi-Tawi. Spratlys.
Teka, we're down to 2 minutes. Anything else you wanna? Okay. Advocate.
Advocate.
I mean, give your URLs or what, or ask people to how do they join RockEd? How do they form RockEd?
The info part, before the last bit, the info part I'll give it now. But RockEd doesn't have anything more poetic other than we would like to imagine that the teenager is no longer turned off with civic participation. Hindi na siya, parang nagiging mas cool siya ng konti. At yung gusto lang namin, go 3D. Go offline and actually show up. Because your life online is only reflected.
May nakalimutan tayong sabihin.
Ano?
yung kwento, yung ginagawa mo interesante, yung pupunta ka sa
sa
Muntinlupa.
bilibid. Oo.
Oh, so it's not just the youth, it's the marginalized, it's the oppressed,
Ako,
it's the suppressed.
okay, ito na yung last 2 minutes.
ah.
I teach creative writing and science in Muntinlupa, the maximum security
very good,
prison. People have asked me, why there? Why not children? Why not women? Why waste time? Why waste time with the dregs, you know, yung
Ito,
convicted,
ganda ng
obviously.
materials nila.
Hindi, oo. Pero
Ang
ako,
ganda niyan, no?
one of the big things, yung overview is, the reason why I teach convicted triple homiciders, and you know, talagang mga convicted felons sila, dahil gusto ko one day, many years from now, may magsabi, a long time ago, sa a group of people never stopped teaching the worst of us. Kasi if you treat the worst of us with respect and that they serve education, the standard, everything goes high. If you treat inmates with respect, we have no choice but to treat children, women, unemployed who are not convicts with respect. You know, di ba? Get it? So, paakit lahat.
Kasi naniniwala ko.
Di ba?
So,
Parang
sometimes
kailangan mo siya
that
ibaba.
goes past my, my understanding of values,
No, other than that-
values formation yan. Ang naisip ko kaagad, hindi pera ha, pero libro.
Libro. Pareho tayo.
Libro.
Pareho tayo. Dream ko may
Anthology yan.
mag-publish.
Sigurado yan.
Dream
Mayroong
ko may
gagaling
mag-publish
with a
ng-
little editing, ganyan. And then it goes on, you know. The
It's my dream to
generations of
publish the
convicts,
poetry of my inmate students. In fact, we've been writing
Behind
since
the walls.
2007. Since 2007, they have journal entries of the day their roommate was executed.
sure.
You know, it's
Maganda yan,
amazing.
maganda yan.
And it talagang story
photos.
siya of freedom and struggle. And
I think we're down to half a minute.
Are
Magsabi ka na, paano kakontakin, paano ida-download yung Rock Rizal.
Ako hindi. Ganito na lang. Para mas madali. Rocket is really about participating wherever you are. You don't have to join us. Join whatever you want to join. And to find us, just Google Rock Ed. Rock Space Ed. That's all.
Ganun.
You'll find us online. No problem.
And they will find a way to, yun nga, yung gusto nila ng music.
Oo,
yung
may
Rizal,
libreng
yeah.
music. Hanapin nyo,
Okay,
Rock
okay.
Rizal.
And then, it's a website. No?
Oo. And this year, please watch out the 150th year of Bonifacio. We're coming up with an album called Rock Supremo, and Ballet Philippines
Sesquicentennial.
Ballet Philippines will have we're producing a ballet with the
very
music
good,
on
very good. Okay.
Rock Bonifacio.
Okay, I'm afraid we've run out of time. What an interesting topic. Maybe we should have a part 2 where...
We'll just talk about prison. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe hold the taping right in prison. Anyway,
Sure.
thanks so much, gang. Thanks so much.
Kurt Pizan, thank you so much.
Salamat. Rock on!
Rolling Stones.
Okay,
Rock and
bye-bye. See you next week.